the podcast where we strip away the armor, question the old narratives, and redefine what it means to be a strong in today's world. I'm your host Avik, and today we are talking about something that most men in leadership rarely admit: the emotional toll of success. Yes. So we celebrate the wins, the companies built, the teams led, and the wealth created. But behind those late night emails and everything's fine kind of smiles, many men are silently fighting battles: the burnout, isolation, and the crushing expectations to always be the provider, the rock, and the strong one. Yep. And that's exactly why today's guest is here. So he is a powerhouse entrepreneur who's built, scaled, and sold multiple seven-figure companies, the founder of Commercial Claims Advocate and the Elite Resolutions. But what's even more impressive than his business acumen is his honesty about the mental and the emotional cost of that grind. So please welcome my guest, Vince Perri. So welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. So Vince, like we are on health, Mind Over Masculinity, and on paper, your story reads like the entrepreneurial dream. But what's the part people don't see? The emotional or the mental cost of that climb? What do you have to say?
Anxiety, depression, lack of confidence, uh, uh, all of the above. The list goes on. Fear,
Yeah.
it's a lot. That's what goes on behind the scenes. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of running out of money. Um, yeah, I don't know. All these deep rooted things that come out that are stuck in your subconscious from past experiences throughout life, potentially past life experiences, generational trauma. It all comes out during the entrepreneurial journey, unless you could figure it out.
Uh, okay. Okay. So, okay. And when did you first realize that success wasn't just kind of about the numbers, but it was taking a toll on your well-being or the relationships? So, yep.
Yeah, I mean, I realized success isn't all about money a long time ago. My first awakening experience for me was when I was 26 years old, around 2009, where,
Mhm.
I realized what I was here for, which is really to ultimately help others, be the rock for other people, be that person that people could lean on and count on. I was a tennis coach teaching little kids that I would mentor kids. I was a solid rock in my family and my group of friends that people could go and I've always been pretty emotionally intelligent, understanding sort of people's feelings and so on and so forth. And I always realized just through my search for myself throughout my adult life that it's not all about money. That's not what success is. But that doesn't take away from the fact that you have your daily stresses and daily things that you have to go through. And when you're running a business and you have a budget to look after, you have a bank account to make sure that you are staying profitable, and then you have people that are counting on their own well-being and financial stability through paychecks as employees and so on and so forth that are relying on you to keep the company moving. That's like a whole other thing that comes about where it becomes a lot of pressure where again it's not all about money. It's just becoming about sustaining so that you could help really support everyone else around you, and that's a lot of pressure, and it could be very stressful for the business owner.
Yeah, I totally agree on this, and like I think every man listening has felt that tension between wanting more and feeling like it's never enough. And your honesty, I mean, there really breaks that illusion that success equals peace. So, yeah.
Yeah, Dan Sullivan of Strategic Coach, he has a book that's called The Gap and the Gain. I was in his program and we went very in depth. And what the gap and the gain is like when you are the gain is basically if you're on a ship and you're on the ocean and you see the horizon. As you approach the horizon, what happens
Mm.
to the horizon? it keeps going and going and going. Those are your goals, those are your dreams, those are your aspirations, those are all the things that you want to achieve. They change throughout time, they get bigger. So the horizon just keeps going. And if you focus on all these things that you want to accomplish that continuously get bigger or continuously change, you become very depressed
Mm,
because you feel like you haven't accomplished enough. However, that's the gap between you and where you want to go. The gain is actually everything that you've already achieved from beginning your journey into the place that you are now. And if you could try to
mm.
get back to the gain, which is everything that you've gained so far on your professional journey and throughout your entire life, it actually makes you feel much more pleasant, much happier, much more accomplished. So that's called the gap in the gain.
Exactly, exactly. So, like burnout, like I mentioned about the burnout, right? Burnout has almost become a badge of honor in the entrepreneurship, and not in the entrepreneurship. I believe it's very common right now, and which uh we somehow we feel like it's a part of the life, so we're enjoying it, kind of things. But like if you're not exhausted, you are not doing enough. So, what was your personal breaking point that made you realize something had to change?
My personal breaking point was my Venmo account getting hacked.
Oh.
I had about, I don't know, 6 or 7,000 US dollars in the account, and I had no idea it was there. I was so wrapped up in everything that was going on, I had forgotten that 2 clients had paid our commission fee through Venmo, and I forgot that the money was there. And typically in Venmo, when somebody deposits Venmo money into your Venmo, what do? Take it out and you put it into your bank account. I never did that. I forgot it was there, and then it got hacked. And I got a phone call from some kind of company, says, "Hey, you have this money, it's getting hacked. You need to take it out. You need to deposit it into this account." Like, it was this whole thing, and I remember I came back home and I told my wife about it, and she just and I knew why it happened. It's just 'cause I was being very forgetful. My mind was very scattered, and I didn't know. It was just a lot going on, and she looks at me and my wife says, "You and I need to go see a therapist." And I said, "No, no, you don't need to see a therapist. I need to see a therapist." So that's when I started my therapist journey, of just, getting myself back into the, the state that I need to get into, realizing some things about my childhood and upbringing that could be the cause of some of my worries and fears and stuff, and figuring stuff out for me, and it helped tremendously. I strongly recommend it for anyone going through anything.
Got it. Got it. Like, uh, after that moment, after that moment, what concrete changes do you make? Like in your habits, like mindset or the business structure, to protect your mental health?
Oh, I mean, honestly, just going on a weekly basis to a therapist was very, very, very helpful. That helped a lot. Even to this day, I don't go on a weekly basis anymore because I feel like I've got things under wrap. But if things start to unravel a little bit, I'll call and I'll book an appointment. But I hired a coach as well, a business coach that was very, very beneficial. That he's like a multi-millionaire, super successful. And what I noticed with a lot of these very, very successful people is that a lot of times it's not about the X's and O's. It's not about the operations. It's not about the marketing strategy and the sales techniques and everything that goes into it. Most of it, what I see very, very in common with all of these, quote unquote, super successful people, money wise, right, is mindset. And it's all a reflection on your mindset. And, I truly believe that if you can get into I'm a big believer of manifestation. I'm a big believer of meditation. I'm a big believer of manifesting through meditation. And, I have found that has helped tremendously. So, to answer your question, the therapy helped initially a lot. The business coaching by someone super, 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 super rich uh,
Mm.
helped a lot in understanding that, wow, a lot of this is just about mindset. And then really diving headfirst into manifestation, meditation, setting my goals, reviewing my goals. Think and Grow Rich is a good example. Anything by Joe Dispenza is a good example, where you're just, setting your setting your intentions, but then even better is actually setting and elevating your emotions. So, one practice that I do is there are 8 energy centers that we have in Buddhist meditation and everything like that. And there's a meditation that I do in particular that helps a lot where you focus on each one of these energy centers, which really start to get your energy going and you start to feel electric through each one of these energy centers. And then you focus on the entire body and all of the energy that are around you because that's all we are, right? We're all built 99%. We're all built from atoms, and atoms are 99% energy. And ultimately, we are energetic beings. 99% of us is just that's what it is. And energy can be moved and can be motivated in any which direction that you want it to. So by practicing this form of meditation of really getting your energetic energy and light being to a state where you are in an elevated state of emotion of positivity, empowerment, confidence, strength, gratitude, joy, happiness, all of this, things start to happen in your life that weren't necessarily happening before. Things were going okay and things were fine, but if you're able to really get into that form of deep, 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 deep energetic meditation of that kind of empowered and elevated emotion, it's that's life changing right there. That's when you could really go to the next level and good things start happening. You start getting green lights on the road. People start opening their doors more. People start laughing around you a little bit more because energy is something that can be transferred to someone else. And that's both positive energy and negative energy as well. So if things aren't going your way, chances are a lot of that could be as a result of just your overall mindset and your overall energetic frequency that you have sort of exerting from your body.
I agree. I totally agree. And like uh and I have to say that's really powerful, man. I mean, most people hit the burnout and just push harder, but you hit the pause and re-engineered the system. That's a kind of masterclass in self-awareness meets the strategy. I really love that. Yep. Uh, and like there's this outdated idea that being a man, especially a successful one, means being the stoic, emotionless, and always in control, right? But how do you personally redefine the masculinity for yourself as a leader, a boss, and maybe even as a father or partner? So, what do
Yeah.
you have to say?
I mean, I think that's there for sure. It's not something I really think about a lot. But I had somebody on my show as well who was a therapist, and she definitely talked. She brought that up as well, where we are taught as men to be stoic. You're so right. We're taught as men to be stoic and rocks and all of this stuff. And we're just human beings like anybody else. Again, if we want to go back to the energetic frequencies don't see a gender. It is one with all of it, whether you're male, female, or any other gender. By that means we're still humans at the end of the day, and all of us are going to experience. All of us are going to experience different things in different ways, and are going to be affected by those things in different ways. And yeah, I mean, I don't know if I can curse, but yeah, that's bullshit to me. Like the whole masculinity thing and all of that. I mean, at the end of the day, things are going to affect us in different ways, and depending on where we're at in our lives in an emotional state, we're going to react a certain way. And having all that pressure can be very, very overwhelming. But for anybody, whether you're male or female, it could be very, very overwhelming having that kind of pressure. I know plenty of female CEOs out there that are having to deal with a lot of the same things that, any male CEO is dealing with, and it's a lot, and until you could learn how to control that, whether you're male or female, you have to learn how to control that.
Totally agree. Totally. And like, do you ever feel resistance? I mean, either from other men or from your own inner voice, like when you show up with more emotional honesty or the softness.
I've always been a pretty emotionally honest person. It's not something that I don't think I can't think of any time. I'm very open with my employees. I'm very open and honest, and I have no problem unveiling any kind of guard. It's not never really been my thing. So I don't know. It's hard for me to answer that question if I've ever felt a time where I felt that vulnerable in a way. I don't know if I can answer that question. I'm having trouble answering it.
Okay. Okay. Understood. Understood. So, oh, got it. And uh, so the entrepreneurs are wired for the ambition to build, to create, to keep growing. But peace often gets left behind, right? So, how do you balance that fire to grow with the need to slow down, breathe, and actually live? So, what do you say?
Awareness. Awareness. You got to be aware of it. I think one of the biggest issues that entrepreneurs have is that there's always a need to be doing something, and that's just not the case. There's the things that you have to do, and then once those things are done, take a break. You don't have to keep working. You don't have to find something else to do. I'll always catch myself now just because of the self-awareness of me looking for something to do. And I'm just like, wait, you know what? Maybe there isn't anything that I have to be doing right now. So practice to pause is something that I tell myself a lot, which is, you don't have to go outside and look for something to be doing or making a phone call or this and that. Take a break. Yeah, you might have some sales calls that you have to do, but if you need a break, take a break. Grace is a word that I've been telling myself a lot lately, is giving myself grace. So, I do like to work out a lot. I'm a big exercise guy. And some days I just don't feel like it. And most of the times I'll push myself to do it, but there's times where I won't. And I don't beat myself up about it. I give myself grace. And sometimes I have weeks. Not concurrent weeks, but I'll have a few days or maybe a week where, it's just not my week. I'm just not feeling it. And I give myself grace and knowing myself that I'll be back on the horse again in no time, and I'll feel it, and that's when we get after it again.
Exactly. So, and like, if a young founder came to you today, obsessed with the success, but on the edge of burnout, then what's the one mindset shift you would tell him to make right now?
Practice the pause, take a break, and then I would advise them to maybe take a few days to write down everything that you're doing throughout the day and anything that doesn't energize you, that doesn't make you feel good. A lot of the administrative stuff, operational stuff, or whatever it is, write down everything that you're doing from, checking emails, responding to emails, answering a phone call, calling this person, doing this, doing that. Take yeah, write all of these things down for about anywhere from 3 to 5 days, and then you make a list of the things that really light you up that's on that list, and you try to delegate as best you can those things that don't light you up, that don't energize you. And if you can get to a place where you're only doing the things that energize you, I will
Yeah.
tell you, Avik, there's no burnout after that. Burnout doesn't exist when you are only doing things that energize you, that really light the fire in you. But again, unfortunately, when you're growing a business, you can't necessarily afford
Yeah.
to delegate a lot of these things. But luckily, we live in a world where I could hire somebody overseas that, quite frankly, could be a fraction of the cost that it would cost me to hire somebody here, and I could potentially find a way that I could at least delegate some of the things that really drain me and free up some time to either practice to pause and take a break or fill it in with something that actually energizes me.
Exactly. Exactly. That's good. That's gold wins. I mean, thank you so much for bringing not just about your business wisdom, but also your heart to this conversation. So, um, the listeners, I'd love to mention that Vince has reminded us that the leadership isn't just about being unbreakable, but it's all about the real thing. That success without peace is just the another form of failure. So, for all the listeners, if today's episode hits home, take a moment tonight to check in with yourself, not your to do list, not your bank account, it's just you. Because your business can't thrive if your mind is breaking quietly in the background. And maybe, just maybe, true masculinity isn't about conquering the world, but learning how to take care of the one within. So, Vince, if someone wants to connect with you, what would be the great medium to connect?
Oh, I'm easy to find. At Vince Perry Official on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all of it. It's pretty much Vince Perry Official anywhere. And you could, best place to message me would be on Instagram. I respond to all my messages.
Amazing. So, dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put our links into the show notes for your easy reference. And with this hope, until next time, this is your host, Avik, and this is Mind Over Masculinity. Stay strong and but stay human. Thank you so much.